Hi, everyone. This is John Gerardi from Right to Life of Central California, bringing you a post-election video, trying to give a little breakdown of what happened yesterday. I'm recording this at about almost 4:30 in the afternoon on Wednesday, November 4th, the day after the election. And I want to try to give as best I can a little breakdown of what yesterday's results, insofar as we have them, mean for those of us in the pro-life movement. On the national level, it appears as of right now, and obviously I think there's going to be a lot of court wrangling over the next month or so before this is all decided, and there are still some votes to be counted in Arizona and several other states as we speak. It looks like right now Joe Biden is in the better position, I'll say that much, and that he very likely is going to wind up being the next president of the United States. From a pro-life perspective, we're after the election now. We're not endorsing or opposing candidates, but obviously Vice President Biden was much more in favor of legalized abortion than President Trump is or was, and there are numerous policy implications of this. A lot of bad executive orders are going to emanate from this president. I think you can see federal funding under Title X restored to Planned Parenthood. You can expect to see federal funding for overseas NGOs that perform abortions restored, that basically eliminating the so-called Mexico City policy, which President Trump and other Republican presidents have adopted. You can see the Little Sisters of the Poor had the lawsuit against them becoming renewed for their refusal to pay for abortifacient contraception coverage in their insurance plan. Mr. Biden has promised that he would take the Little Sisters of the Poor back to court after their brief sort of semi-reprieve from the Supreme Court this past June. So obviously there are bad things that have happened, but I want to give you the good news. The worst case scenario has been avoided, and it's been avoided because the Democrats failed to take control of the Senate. Now, I've been talking on the radio show quite a bit about what would happen if the Democrats took control of the Senate. There was a distinct possibility that they would abolish the filibuster in the Senate. The filibuster is the rule in the Senate that you need 60 votes to advance most big pieces of legislation, not simply 50 plus 1. And if the Democrats had done that, then they would have tried to do two things that would have been terrible for the pro-life cause, or at least many of them were calling for this. One, pass a national piece of abortion legislation to override every state law limiting abortion. Every state law from all these pro-life states that regulate abortion have informed consent requirements on it, health and safety laws on abortion. A national abortion law that would have swept all of those restrictions away, all these restrictions that pro-life states have passed over the last 27 years, which have contributed to a decline in the abortion rate nationwide. The Democrats would have basically imposed New York's abortion laws on the whole country, and it would have rendered an overturning of Roe v. Wade almost moot. So that has been avoided. The Democrats cannot do that because they don't have a majority in the Senate. They don't have a majority in the Senate, so they can't alter the filibuster rules. They cannot pass that kind of a drastic piece of legislation. On the topic of court packing, this was the other big fear, that if the Democrats took the Senate, they would abolish the filibuster and pack the Supreme Court, expand the number of justices on the Supreme Court in order to attain a certain ideological outcome that they prefer. Expand the number of justices. Well, they can't do that either. If they don't have a majority in the Senate, there's absolutely no way that they can pack the Supreme Court. So that's that idea, which, I talked about that quite a bit on the show in the months leading up to the election. That whole idea is thankfully dead on arrival. So, it's a mixed bag, and this is all assuming Vice President Biden wins, and we don't know. This is all in the hands of God and a bunch of lawyers now, and a lot of states. I think President Trump might call for recounts in some states that he lost very narrowly. He's already filed lawsuits in Michigan and Pennsylvania for what he deems to be voting irregularities in those states. So we'll see. The Florida election didn't get resolved until, I believe, December 22nd or something, the 2000 election, in looking at the Florida results. So we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens as this week and month unfold. On the statewide level, some very bad news on the statewide level is the passage of Proposition 14. Proposition 14, as many of you know, this was the ballot initiative to fund embryo-destructive stem cell research. Proposition 14 would fund it with a $5.5 billion bond. And let's remember, a bond is a loan given to a governmental entity, in this case the state of California, which the state pays back, meaning you, the taxpayer, pays back with interest. So the state would get $5.5 billion for research funding to fund research on embryos, taking stem cells from embryos, thereby destroying the embryos, and using that for scientific medical research. We would have to pay that $5.5 billion principal plus interest, and it would cost us, the taxpayers, something like $7.8 billion. As of now, it's narrowly winning. That ballot proposition is narrowly winning 51 to 48%, 51 point something to 48 point something. This is very close and discouraging, because even if they just barely win, we got to pay the full $7.8 billion freight for this thing, which is going to result in the destruction of innocent human life. It's a waste. It's a terrible idea. Even the San Francisco Chronicle opposed this ballot initiative because it's such a waste of money. This program has been in existence in California for some time. It was created through a 2004 ballot initiative, Prop 71, which funded it with a $3 billion bond, and it has since then produced 0 FDA-approved cures or treatments. So we're just dumping more and more money into the ocean for an avenue of research that is just a dead end. Embryo-destructive stem cell research is not the avenue for cures. There are far more cures in adult stem cell research, and frankly, more cures in other avenues of research other than stem cells. So it's really a shameful thing that this has been passed, and it could only happen in our insane golden state. So that's the outlook. Stay tuned to Right to Life of Central California for more updates. Stay tuned to Right to Life Radio. We'll have, a full breakdown of what went on in the election this Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. Thank you so much, and God bless. For Right to Life of Central California, I'm John Gerardi.